And soon after Graham moved to Winter Haven, he met a like-minded friend. Graham was maybe 12 years old at the time. This is 1958, 1959. And since we're lucky enough to have him with us today, Jim Carlton. Jim, I'm just wondering if you would talk a little bit about what it was like meeting Graham at the time and developing your mutual affinity for music.
First, thank you. It's so nice to be here with so many friendly faces. Thank you so much for showing up, and I'd also like to say hello to Warren Zevon's favorite drummer. John, you're all dressed up. I'm in the Sears Back to School collection. You're looking good, my friend. It's good to see you again. I met Graham at St. Joseph's Catholic school. Neither one of us were Catholic, but we were supposedly promised a better education there, and we just hit it off. Everybody was calling each other by their last names. Then, hey Carlton, hey Baxter, hey Keeling. But no, this kid, everybody called him Graham. And I said, what's this guy's first name? And they said, Graham. Graham? No, he just had this magnetism and charisma, for lack of a better word, that exuded this, he exuded this warmth. He was always a perfect gentleman. He had manners. He was the funniest sense of humor. He would have been a great comedy writer. I was lucky enough to write for the Smothers Brothers from 83 to 89, and they had a show called the New Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, so I had a nice little run writing comedy, also for our dear friend Jim Stafford, who can't make it today. I got a call from Jim. Jim has been my very, very dear friend for more than a half-century, but if he's going to pull a no-show once every 50 years like this, we're going to have to reevaluate our friendship. He sends his best. Good. Yeah, he does. They go way back. And just got back from LA, talked about you out there, as a matter of fact, with a bunch of people, so I'll tell you about that. But Graham had a great... We were watching once... the Guy Lombardo show was telecast, and there was an oblique overhead shot. And Graham said, of people dancing, and Graham said, look, it's a sea of bald heads. He had such a rapid, fast sense of humor, and such an amazing demeanor about him that it was just a no-brainer that we would hit it off. And so the two of us at lunch hour would just walk around the playground, the grounds of this Catholic church, and just satirize everybody and everything. Something two boys who were just raging with hormones just had to get out of their systems. And you know how that is with Bob. He was a fascinating guy, amazing talent. Later on, down at the Dairy Down, I excerpted some things from a recording I have of Graham. In 2000, I produced an album called Another Side of His Life that were kind of the lost recordings of Graham that he had recorded in my house when we were youngsters. But he was also with a folk group called the Shilohs. And this was recorded in December 20th of 1964. Graham was 18 years old, and you will be amazed at what remarkable character he had in his voice. And I think he's singing Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out, which was a song Eric Clapton discovered about 30 years later. 30 exact, but it's you'll be amazed, I do believe, at the quality and the timbre of his voice. Shilohs were maybe the best folk group I ever heard, and that means the Kingston Trio and the Highwaymen and the Brothers Four and the Journeymen notwithstanding. These kids were just alive with talent, and it's a shame, but of course Graham's mercurial nature was such that he split the group. He was very famous for splitting groups, wasn't he, John? Are any of the Chambers boys here today? We got Gerald. Carl? Jesse? Carl? Carl's in bed. Graham always loved how you guys answered the phone. You called the chambers and they would not say hello, they would say. They'd pick up the phone and say, all right. All right. Now, that's exactly what Bobby Braddock was talking about. That is the South oozing from every pore. It's just, I am so fortunate that and I think many of us are, that we were reared in the South, because it's so textured and wonderful here in the South. We are just blessed to be here. Bob Keeling has done a tremendous job with this book. I endorse it highly. It's the book I can read. There are 5 or 6 bios now of Graham, and yours is the one I can read and say, yeah, that's the way it really was. So, call on me anytime. I'm going to turn the mic over to Bob, and he can continue with his terrific program. John Cornell will be speaking up a little bit later. He has a lot to say, and really good to see you.
Good to see you, man. All right. Thanks, Jim.